So then guys, I've got another video for you today. This one is going to be somewhat interesting based on some of the emails that I've gotten and some of the questions that people have asked me. So I'm going to be addressing those today. If you see any cuts in the video, this is likely to the fact that there is traffic outside, or that I have said 100 times, or possibly had too much of a deep breath during the conversation, or in this case, sirens. So in this video, I thought I would address a lot of the things that I've been told on YouTube the past few weeks, possibly the past week, who really knows. But if I seem a little bit rough, that is literally because I have been drinking pretty much non-stop the past 2 days, and it has been pretty intense. We had a very good party last night, and a decent party the night before too. It's really good to have everyone back in the dorm, and obviously we're just having a great time. So a lot of you have asked me, you know, how am I doing? I'm not doing too well, you know, things like that. I don't really know how you could detect that from the video, because I'm doing honestly just fine. There is obviously a couple of issues at the minute which I'm not going to dive into particularly too much, but I have been receiving a lot of comments, some even being threats, and of course I've had to address this in my own way, which hasn't been nice for me. So I thought I would first off start talking about some of the comments that I got. So I was being told I don't know what a real man is, that I'm a boy, and that, you know, various other things, which, like, I think you could find offensive if it came from a person that was genuinely a person that you knew or knew you well and possibly understood exactly everything about you. But when they don't, it's actually quite funny, because they don't know a thing about me. So what are they gonna explain how I know what a real man is, or what boy is, or whatever? Yeah, so these people don't know a thing about me. They've just been throwing accusations and stuff out there about me and trying to threaten me and make me feel like an absolute moron, which is unfortunately something that isn't going to work. As I say, I'm just going to dive a little bit into the whole man aspect, and then we're going to move on to narcissism, as I believe these are two things I would really like to talk about today, as I know you guys really enjoyed the past video that I did, because it is important to me to talk about. So first off, I would like to mention, how many movies or Netflix series or whatever have you been watching where the woman is always the smart person and the man is the bumbling idiot who is quite literally drinking a beer and doing absolutely nothing with his life? It's kind of sad, really, that men have been put down to this level in society, because it obviously isn't true. I don't know if you guys remember the Gillette advert where it's like teaching boys to be men, or teaching men how to be men, and giving us this like whole feminization speech on guys, which was just kind of a little bit sad. And a watch company made a response video to it, talking about the death rates among men in work, talking about the duty heroes that you often see as being men, firefighters, police officers, all of these different things. They end up being the ones that put themselves more often in danger than anyone else. Accidents more often happen in work with men because of the majority working more in construction, building roads, fixing things, building things, mechanics, etc. I know a lot of people are going to assume straight away that's me disregarding the fact there are some women that like to do these jobs. I'm not. I'm just saying it's majority men. If women decide to do those jobs, they can. Whether they have the qualifications for it or not is another thing, and whether they actually want to do that job is another thing as well. If you do, then fair play to you. That is an awesome thing that you are doing, and all to you. Another thing is that essentially, when I was talking, and I noticed a lot of people took what I said out of context about traditional males, is men aren't allowed to be men. And I'm not on about like vile narcissistic twats. I'm talking more specifically about men wanting to be protectors, providers, people that want to be able to look after their women, and essentially that's really all it comes to. It's not a difficult thing to understand. I mean, even from me, I can't understand why that would be so wrong. A lot of people seem to assume that's me saying that I'm dismissing non-traditional relationships or the complete modern day world or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of relationships where people just rely purely on cuckolding, the woman being more of the man in the relationship, but usually that's an agreement that there's like a stay-at-home man and the woman does the job, or you both work at the same time. My point was that it is often these days that men will go out and work a shitty job just to support their girlfriend or their wife, and potentially their family, to come home to a woman that is CBA to cook, CBA to clean, CBA to do any of these things. And I'm not saying it's not a joint effort. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you are a stay-at-home mom, or you are a stay-at-home woman and potentially want to do traditional women's roles, you can't be expecting not to do those things if your man is working all day and he's coming back and he's having to put up with your shit. Again, vice versa. It's a modern world now, so I totally understand that if the male wants to take that role and do the male stay-at-home thing, then yeah, he should probably be cooking and cleaning if she's the one working all day and you're doing nothing. I get it. Just granted that you have both talked about it, had your boundaries set, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing. Sometimes if you're not morally on the same playing field, or you don't have the same ideals and the same perspectives, that relationship is likely never going to work anyway. So that was really what I wanted to address. It's not that I'm disregarding anything. It's not that I'm a boy who thinks I'm a man or any of these things. You know, I'm 22, I've been growing up a long time and I understand all of these things, but now I'm deciding to actually get to the main topic of the video, which is about narcissism. And this one is going to hit home because I've dealt with so many narcissists over the years that, I mean, I think I can give somewhat of a perspective on what you might be going through and really how to deal with these kinds of people and really what are they going through right now if you are doing well for yourself. Basically, narcissists rely on heavy emotional stress levels and emotional intensity. If you are a very oppositional character to narcissists, they tend to not like you, and the narcissist will end up breaking the relationship off with you, mainly because they can't handle the fact they can't bring out their emotional intensity on you, and they're not getting the reaction, they're not getting the provoked message that they need. You will tend to find that your ex-girlfriend or say your friend keeps messaging you and then accuses you of messaging them when it is them that messaged you, and then you just carried on the argument that they were trying to force onto you. Obviously, this is gaslighting. These kinds of people will always try to accuse you of something, try and say, you're trying to make me feel guilty, you're trying to make me feel bad about something. But majority of the time, this is because they can't handle the fact that they have problems and they just want to project them onto you. That is literally what a narcissist does. They project all of their intense emotions onto you because they want somebody to blame, because they can't blame themselves. They don't understand how to do that. Another thing is narcissists generally don't know how to love, and when they lose their partner, specifically when they can't cope with the idea that you're very oppositional to their emotional intensity, they get quite aggravated and quite annoyed, and you will tend to find that narcissists will throw vile, inconsistent abuse towards you. This could be, I mean, really multiple things. They could say that they never even loved you, that they lied about who they was, that they never loved you for half of the relationship anyway, or that they enjoyed going off and cheating on you, or they did so and so forth. It's all a bunch of bullshit basically that they throw your way. Do they really mean it? Do they really intend it? Are they just having an episode? What is wrong with these people? Generally, narcissists are spiteful, vindictive people that will essentially, when they lose something, they really need to bring out, as I say, that emotional intensity onto people, and so that will usually be them spewing abuse at you. One thing you will notice with narcissists is when they go in a very snarky, funny mood, you've probably heard their voice for 6, 18, 24 months, maybe even 20 years, and the moment they go snarky, their voice changes almost into a sassy, kind of odd, villain-like tone, which generally is just hilarious to listen to, because you can tell they're kind of breaking down because they can't get the reaction from you that you want. Now, narcissists generally will try to provoke a reaction out of you, and to try and get this reaction out of you, so you say something bad enough so they can have something against you, whether that be dirt on you, whether that's so they can turn your friends against you, whether that be to turn everyone and everything against you. They're very good at this, and even if they're very self-destructive and are the cause for their life falling apart, they will project that onto you. And this is the craziest thing. Like, I've been told that you don't have a right to know about someone, or you don't have a right to know about like their behavior, the way that they've been, etc., etc. Now, let's just say you meet this partner, right, and 12 months down the line they decide to tell you that they had a criminal record for murdering people. They've gone through rehab and therapy and all these different things, and they're no longer a murderer. Would you feel a little uneasy 6 to 12 months later only just finding out that they were a murderer? I'm pretty sure you'd be a little bit like, what the fuck? Because they didn't decide to tell you this information at the very start of the relationship or friendship. And this is where things start to become incredibly messed up, because if you would have known there was a murder at the very start, it probably would have made a big difference to the way they were interacting with people, your security and management with this person, maybe the way that you approach certain situations with them. And obviously I know that's like, oh well, it doesn't really matter about that because they're not a murderer anymore. Well, of course it matters, the same way that your mental health matters and everything else. Now again, with narcissists you tend to find a boatload of gaslighting where they will do something to you to extremely upset you, and then usually they will send you an apology, and this apology isn't them apologizing to you, it is them apologizing to themselves because they're worried they're going to lose their one kind of use case scenario for you, which is, like I say, to project all of their emotional problems and issues onto you. In a relationship, 99% of the problems that the person has will go on to their partner, or if you're friends or very, very close friends, you might find it's a 50-50 or possibly much higher than that. And nobody's saying that you shouldn't be there to support anyone. In fact, you will honestly find out that if you listen to your partner and you validate their emotions, and this has to go both ways, by the way, this can't just go one way and then them have a go at you whenever you decide to oppose their issues. If it's kind of back and forth, you do need to kind of understand pretty quickly that if you both emotionally validate each other, especially if you both go through mental health or you both go through multiple different things, then you'll tend to find pretty quickly that actually you'll be in a better partnership, because you start to have trade-offs, you start to understand each other emotionally and spiritually, if you want to call it that. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's all about validation in a relationship, and it's all about, if you argue or come to some kind of debate, that you've come to a middle ground and you both kind of say, look, okay, our ideas aren't perfect, maybe we're never going to come to a solution on this, so where do you want to go? Let's maybe agree to disagree on certain things, and you'll tend to find usually that that brings an overall much nicer experience to both of you. One thing I did want to mention actually, because I thought this was quite important to talk about, when you meet somebody, and this is obviously very important, when you very first meet someone, it might be wise that you look out for red flags from the very beginning, whether that be the way that they kind of rush into you with affection, or whether that be that they kind of charge you with all of these emotions which you're kind of confused about. Maybe you've never had it before, because I mean, I've dealt with multiple narcissists, both from friendship wise and of course relationship wise, and some of them tend to show their behavior from the very beginning and just continue to go with it, but they're bearable people. Some of them don't show it at all until later on, and then some of them just don't show it at all and kind of have characteristics of it. Generally that doesn't mean they're a bad person. Obviously it's all going to come down to the mental health aspect and everything else, because I mean, obviously somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, or for example antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, whatever it may be, all of these different things are obviously going to be causing issues in a relationship. I mean, generally two people with mental health in a relationship is going to be difficult to deal with, or if there's one that's, I don't know, incredibly depressed and there's one that's dealing with something like Asperger's or whatever, it's going to clash, because one's not going to be very emotionally available because they don't really understand it, and the other one is overly emotional, maybe a little bit too depressed, and the other person doesn't really get it, but they're trying to sympathize, but then this person doesn't feel loved enough, and then it causes a big clash, and it's a problem. It's all something we kind of have to come to the conclusion to in the end, whether it's actually going to work or not. You can usually tell pretty quickly based on how someone treats you whether it's actually going to be a long-lasting relationship, because people often, and I was told this by my friend as well, that people who engage very quickly in things like promise rings, necklace rings, or any of these different kind of things tend to break up within the first year, and this can also happen with marriage as well. People seem to get married within the first year and then they get divorced within the next year because they're just not giving each other enough time to learn about each other. You'll find that generally some people are very patient, but this is where the issues come in. Some people can think that you're like trying to manage their entire life just because you want to spend more time with them, and that's not entirely true. Like, if you really want to get to learn it, who's learning? So if you want to get to learn someone, it takes a long time. You know, a lot of my friends, we've known each other 7-8 months, 5 years, 20 years, you know, somewhere in between that, 12 years, whatever. And all of these friends I've built bonds with over time, and it took, you know, multiple times seeing each other, multiple times going out, multiple times of our parents meeting up and talking crap about us at school or whatever. You know, these things obviously are very difficult to, especially say you're in a long distance relationship, especially on like the other side of the world, which is even more difficult. You're not seeing each other that much. If you're not calling each other, or you're not playing games together, or you're not watching stuff together, there is no romantic bond or really anything that you can talk about anymore that's going to progress the relationship further. I mean, even if it's something like, if your partner's never been to a concert before, take them to a concert. If your partner's never done us into a theme park, take them to a theme park. Always learn new things and try to understand each other better, or do something that maybe is incredibly risky, like, I don't know, go abseiling or rock climbing or something with your partner, and if they don't like it, you don't go again. But it's an experience, and maybe you are helping each other climb the rock together or something, you know. It's quite a sweet situation overall. But all I'm going to say is this video is very jumbled, because obviously I've gone from talking about traditional males to narcissism to all sorts of other things. Obviously the abundance of comments and emails I've been getting, it's been, I would say it's been a rough week, but it really hasn't. It's been a pretty good week this week. I mean, right now I'm obviously doing a lot in regards to work, I'm doing a lot in regards to YouTube, I'm doing a lot in regards to going out and learning new things, meeting with new people and all sorts of stuff, because it's something I haven't done for a while. And obviously something I thought I would disclose on YouTube is the fact that in August I was on 5 milligram of escitalopram, which was Lexapro, and moving forward from August, because of so many different things happening that caused my mental health to decline, I went from 10 milligram up to 15 milligram of escitalopram, and as of this week I came down back to 10 milligram on the way back down to 5 milligram, and I am in a much happier state now. So yeah, as I say, I will keep making videos like this because I know people do enjoy these, and I will continue to update you guys on all sorts of different things. I mean, the next topic might be, I mean, we talked about mental health and narcissism, now it might be an expansion of that, or it might just generally be about relationship advice this time without any mental health or anything in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It has been pretty, like I say, exciting. I am just very tired, and we've been drinking the past 2 days, so it's been a little rough. I'm excited, as I say, moving forward. We've got a lot of stuff coming out, we've got a lot of updates, we've got a lot of deadlines, assignments to do, all sorts of things. And I mean, obviously I'm really looking forward to summer here, because I think that's where things are really going to kick off. Like I say, if there's no support anymore, it is time for you to walk away. It is time for you to, as I say, strap in, hold on, clench tightly, and ride the way through it. And you will get out of it pretty quickly, and you will be feeling a lot better about yourself. Anyway guys, hope you have a good one, and peace.